Welcome to the NACL Open Qualifier. This is day one of the Swiss stage. My name is Llama. Alongside me is DBZ. On the cast, we are bringing you the 0-0 matchup. Both these teams just fresh onto this Open Qualifier. We got Clown Gaming coming in here as the 26th seed, and their opponent on the red side is Lotus, the 7th seed here in this qualifier.
Indeed. So on paper, we are expecting Lotus to perform pretty well, all things considered, but obviously on paper does not always qualify to or translate onto the Rift, if that makes any sense. So here we are in picks and bans right now at the moment. Looks like we are banding out 480 carries. I have seen Ash Ferris be kind of a nuisance on Champions Q and here in NA. Oh, maybe not. They're going to bait me and switch to the Renata at the very last second. Are they going to commit to it? Ooh. But as I was going to say, so hello everyone, we are here on 14.1b I think actually, so we should be on the hotfix patch, and lots of changes coming through and lots of item changes and the changes onto the Rift compared to last year, so this is going to be very exciting to see where we go in the competitive scene. So far we have LAC, LCK, CBL going on right now. The LCS starts today, LPL is next week, and now Open qualifiers for NACL. So all sorts of competitive play happening at one day, and it's going to be exciting. Okay, so they go with the Renata ban instead. Renata also a strong pick coming through, and we're going to continue onwards, and with the Milio ban as well. So it looks like we're actually going more support ban instead of AD carry ban like I was originally thinking.
Yeah, but as you're saying, with all these leagues starting up, DBZ, there's still so much flexibility and malleability in drafts and what teams think is strong or OP, right? Mm-hmm. Especially even at this high level, like you are taking notes from these other major leagues that are playing on this current patch. I mean, LCS played on the live patch, and so depending on when you're watching this video now, you might be seeing some changes here in the draft. But it is going to be over to Clown Gaming for the B1 pick. We'll see what they think is the highest priority to pick early on here in the draft.
Now, I was memeing when earlier when we were talking, I said, Udyr is really strong, and go figure, look what they lock in instantly. Udyr. I was thinking that would be the pick that comes in. He's super strong, has a very interesting proxying method that he will do in between the tier 2 and honestly tier 3. I watched it literally happen just earlier as we are recording at this moment in the LEC, where I think it was Relevant who was in between the tier 3 and tier 2, but Xin Zhao being the answer. I will also say Xin Zhao is broken right now, and Varus a really strong pick. Banning the Ashe away kind of implies that they would think Clown Gaming might take it away from them, because the pairing of Ashe Varus has been pretty obnoxious with the poke lane, the CDR up both their ultimates, layering the CC, and just kind of annihilating targets. So having the heads up to ban the Ashe away, in my opinion, is a really smart pick. But Clown Gaming now on the other side with their 2-3, they have options of what they can do here. They see the Xin Zhao on the other side. I've seen the Vi get picked into him. I've seen also, wait a minute, I'm gonna pause because I really like Jhin here. I'm biased against or not biased against, but I'm biased for Jhin all the time because he is the perfect champion and Jhin gets locked in. So that is a pick that Clown Gaming's AD carry does play, so not surprising that that's coming in. And the third pick here,
the Vi, that's what we were just saying.
Okay. Yep. All right, cool.
Well,
so Vi does come in.
And the Varus you were talking about too, right? This was a pick that you thought Lotus might have even been banning away, but did decide to actually put the priority on it here as well. And not surprised to see Clown Gaming matching that range with Jhin. You think about that curtain call opening up, like you cannot outrange something like a curtain call unless you're picking like a global here. Yeah. So now you got to say, okay, Vi is playing for this lockdown. Both current picks for Lotus are immobile. So where are you going to start bringing in some of this peel? It is going to be the Rakan paired up with Varus, which provides a lot of utility and crowd control that this team pairs so well, right? Like Varus Rakan, you have so much lockdown now. So you have to see now second half of bans. Where are these teams going to pivot here? How are you going to start looking into the second half of the draft? Because looks like both mid laners still up and available yet to be picked. We'll see if bans go toward there here in the second half.
Indeed. I'm also wondering if Clown Gaming is going to focus on top lane bans to kind of get rid of some picks that are annoying to play against into the Udyr. And yep, there's Olaf right there. That's one of them. That's the matchup that was just being played in the LEC right now at this very moment. It was Olaf versus Udyr. Looked like Olaf was giving Oscar in a little bit of trouble from when I was watching, so that actually makes sense to ban that away. It's also funny enough that maybe these teams have LEC on the side as this is going on, so that would be pretty amusing. But in terms of focusing on mid lane bans, I am expecting maybe another mid lane ban thrown at Clown Gaming. I was gonna say Syndra or Yone, so it looks like they're gonna go ahead and go with the Syndra ban as well, and maybe Clown Gaming finishes off with another top lane ban, which would be, I think Trundle would be an interesting pick into. Actually, nope, that is wrong because as I'm looking, Yayo actually is the one that plays Trundle. So actually, it would probably be either Malphite, Rumble, Jax, or Scion that maybe ends up getting banned here. That is something where they can kind of just like ignore whatever Udyr is doing and just kind of do their own thing while he's doing his own thing. But Gangplank actually going to be the pick that's taken off. I did see that Porsche does play Gangplank, so
Sure.
really a comfortable pick. It looked like it was a top play champion as well. So seeing that taken off the table, you know, that makes sense to me.
And the other picks in his arsenal, as you were naming, were pretty high CC, lower damage. Aatrox is one that does provide more of the damage to the team fight. But you also named like Scion, Maokai, right? These are champs that just don't provide the damage topside here, as well as the team fighting presence is really what you're playing around. With Aatrox being the choice, it has to be something where you think you can maybe heal out. You know, you got to be really looking for those vital procs, you know, get that extra damage and knock up from Aatrox. But as we're talking about here and how the draft is unfolding, it is the pressure toward the bot side. Lotus really wanted to prioritize securing a strong bot side pick, and that's why they're saving some of these other picks for later on. And Lotus wants to see the rest of the draft and see, okay, how can we play mid jungle? Because Clown Gaming says we're going to keep playing for single target lockdown. I mean, man, when you have that cease and desist and you have the depth charge coming in, right? This Vi and Nautilus, if they see a target that they want to keep crowd controlled, they will be able to do it.
Absolutely. And let's top it off with a control mage, I think.
Absolutely.
Yep, Azir being the hover right there, just kind of fling them back, especially just finishing off that CC. And that just 100% guarantees if someone gets locked down by any of these ultimates, I would argue even as far as an Udyr stun as well, it's just, you're just 100% dead. And Annie being the hover,
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, see, I
Oh, it is
see
locked.
Oh,
wow.
Okay, I like it. Okay. Let's see if AO June decides to go for something I've been cooking in my head since we no longer have mythics.
Sure.
I have been cooking in my head like a Luden's companion and rocket belt type build to kind of get that extra gap close.
Yeah.
But Cloud Gaming's front line is a little beefy. You know, Nautilus, Udyr is going to probably build a couple of take items. Vi is going to be a little bit of Bruiser E. So this is going to be very, very exciting to see where this game could possibly go.
It's high burst, but even the Annie also provides very low mobility, right? That was something that I pointed out early on in this draft with the Varus and Zhao pairing, that like these are both immobile targets and immobile carries that are really the damage dealers here. You're pairing that with an Annie as well, and it feels like Annie's also short range, almost needs flash, especially at this level, to get like a flash Tibbers onto Jhin or an Azir. And if you don't have that burst, if you don't have that flash, it's easy pickings, right? Like you are still very immobile, which is why we've seen these hyper mobility mages coming back into the forefront along with item changes around the Akali or the LeBlanc. And now they're saying, nope, we're just going to go for a burst mage in the mid lane. And my look is going to be, can this burst mage do what the name suggests and actually burst through some of these targets? Because that's really feels like one of Lotus's key points, especially by holding that to the R5. So Annie is a key pressure point I'm looking for here in game one.
I'm picturing a little bit of a wombo combo in my head as I'm looking through Lotus's draft. I'm foreseeing on top of the Rakan ultimate, the Annie ult on top of it, so that way they kind of get locked in place at the same time. Let's assume Aatrox is there too, to kind of dish out that extra deeps and Varus ult, and they just kind of try to melt through them as fast as they can. So that's what I'm seeing. Because Cloud Gaming's, like you said earlier, is more of a single target blow up versus a team fight blow up. What I'm seeing from Lotus in terms of who has the better team fight. It kind of depends who lands everything first. I think that's how I'm going to like, that's my analytical analysis, is who lands everything first, and that's who's going to win the team fight.
Yeah, because there's not that survivability piece, right? That's exactly what you're talking about here, is if you're landing your damage first, you will have the burst to 100-0 one of these targets, right? And we're looking at these key damage dealers for both sides. Particularly, it is mid-jungle AD for both teams. What I favor on Cloud Gaming is a little bit more of that scaling, right? Azir with 3 or 4 items is incredibly powerful with those Sand Soldiers, soldiers and isn't going to be the 100-0 kind of mage. But if you can use your ultimate to disengage, use that, Shurima shuffle, as they're calling it, right? To keep these targets away from you after Xin Zhao uses that when becomes lightning and tries to jump in. Can you, disengage an Aatrox or Xin Zhao? There is that world where playing out longer fights, Clown Gaming has a chance.
Very true. Very, very true. I'm also like trying to piece together in my head like what the plan is in terms of builds. Is I'm very biased towards what Jin should be building because I keep it taco really heavily. So I'm really hoping that Paragon decides to go for the Yomus into Hubris and then so on, that kind of type of build. That's the build that I've been playing with, and that's what I've been most successful on. Yeah. So I like that build. Varus is kind of the same thing. I think it's Yomus into Orc and then kind of on from there.
So you were thinking lethality though is going to be the Varus pick?
Now that I'm looking at it, what am I cooking? Maybe not, actually.
What is Lotus's AD cooking, right? What are we thinking about? What is forcing in the ADC role here? Like, the role in the team feels like it does have to be, as you talked about the Wombo combo, that included additional damage, right? Because if you're playing lethality, all you have is burst, and now what's your team fight going to look like? So we'll see here, as we get into game in just a moment, what is going to be that summoner choice, as well as how are you going to be playing with your keystone, because that's going to make a big difference on the lane. But
yeah,
we'll have to see what happens here. Let's just take a quick break here as we are getting ready for this game number 1. It is 0-0 in the Swiss stage on day 1 of the NACL Open Qualifiers. We'll see you in a moment. We're on to the Rift now for the first game in the Swiss stage between Clown Gaming and Lotus. These two squads are coming into the open qualifier of the NACL, hoping to prove that they can make it into that top 16, and it's all going to start right now on the Rift. My name is Llama, and with me, DBZ, bringing you the action here in this first round matchup, and we'll all have to see what these two teams got cooked up for us.
All right, we had some pings coming out in the bot lane, but it looks like we're just going to get a classic 5-point stance. We also have pings coming on to Varus's heal, which I said in loading screen that's like did not bring cleanse. Forsen did not bring cleanse into this matchup. So whether or not that will play implications on how the rest of this will go, or specifically the laning phase in particular, we'll have to wait and see. But for now, looks like we might have a little bit of nonsense happening mid lane here. Okay.
Aljun was careful here, but that's the part of even these new bushes, right? We're playing on a new patch where even invade angles have changed. Bush paths on mid lane have been widened, so Nostalgia can't just stand in the bush and land that dredge line from max range there and actually expect to hit it. So Aljun got feet, but is looking for something a little spicy there.
In my head, I was also kind of thinking like maybe Nostalgia would flash for it, but he didn't end up doing it. Wait a minute, hold that thought.
There's something. There is going to be the hook now onto their support, but is just gonna jump on out. It's gonna be just fine here. No summoners even. Oh, actually, Aljun did have to burn the flash there.
Yep. Wow. Did flash. Yep. So that's actually huge. In my opinion, I think that's an absolute win. Annie being mobile, and we're gonna keep fighting actually here.
Oh, Giger trying to get a jump here. Bot lane level 1. This time the hook does miss. Nostalgia now gonna be in a little bit of trouble, but summoners are available. There's gonna be the root, and Diamond's not level 2 yet. Is gonna try to come down maybe afterwards, but it's actually going to be the bot lane from Clown getting zoned off level 1 thanks to the early aggression.
Wow, yeah, and the Ignite burned as well on the side of Mixture, so that will be down for this next engage. I thought Bot would have hit level 2 a little sooner to be able to kind of move over and kind of help with that fight, but that didn't end up happening. Ends up kind of going back in jungle, finishing the red buff, and now we're kind of back into the action. So we got some pots being burned a little early. We also have summoners that were burned early, so I'm expecting diamonds to go up into this mid lane match, or to the mid lane to kind of like influence this matchup. Annie not having flash is huge, especially because like there's nothing for her to get out with. Like sure, you get the speed up on your E, but that's pretty much it. Level 2's hitting the bot lane now, and we're gonna go ahead and fight here.
Nostalgia goes back in, but Mixture just trading a little bit. Just going to try to get some healing in, and we'll feel just fine by landing that Gleaming Quill there for Khan. Going to get another heal here, and yeah, that's the sustain that you're missing, right? If you are Clown Gaming, you don't have sustain in this lane. You have range and you have all in, right? And that's about it. So you're going to be okay, I think, if you're Mixture and Forsen here, this bot lane duo for Lotus. here in this early game, as long as you're not getting poked down. And yeah, you talked about summoners being burned, but it was only the ignite for Mixture, right? So both sides have their flashes still available.
Indeed, and I see some pings coming down on the bot side. It looks like Zhao did make his way over and was looking for Vi to see if she was there, but they will find out that there's no one there. And we might say this would be a risky dive to do this early at the moment. I'm actually glad they called that off. But Vi is here on the top side, will be spotted on this ward. I do not think Diamonds will go any further than that. Nope, we'll just go back, get the scuttle. Both scuttles will be traded amongst the junglers. And now we're kind of in a little more of a quieter state than we were. So first strike will be up in a minute 15 as trading's happening on the top side. I don't think too much more will come from that. But back to the Dragon. Now, you mentioned, you and I were talking, you know, before the game had started, and actually Jin taking a really bad trade here. Looks like we'll get out. We'll four-shot the Rakan away, but top side.
Yeah, Diamonds. After clearing out that ward, Porsche was in a little bit of trouble, but was able to get that second ward down. So it's going to be safe now, but had to play pretty safely because Xin Zhao was on the bot side, and both teams knew that here. So a little bit spooky there. But let's get back to that trick.
Yes, so back to the Drake point. You and I were talking before we started that it seems like this year that early Drakes are not as much of a priority anymore like they used to be. And so it's more about winning lane than kind of forcing an early prio for that first Drake. Especially because I wouldn't say that like it has to do with that anything that they changed with the Drakes. Everything is pretty much more or less the same, minus the Infernal Rift has changed. It's more about what's on the top side now coming through with those Void Grubs. With that extra pushing power that you can get with towers now on spawn, getting all 3 of the Void Grubs, or even getting just 1 actually. I think you get a little bit of true damage off of that as well. But you now it seems like the focus is switch topside as now we're fighting in the bot lane. Q will go through and the Ignite will not be enough to secure Forced Blood on Nostalgia Lee. And the jungle, actually, Vi now has gone over into the Drake pit, and Void Grubs have now conveniently been taken by Xin Zhao as well. So extra pushing power now coming through. And
it is just the one grub, and you know, Vi does not know that these are being taken quite yet. Remember, there's not the actual global announcement until all 3 of the first camps, and now you'll see that all 3 have been taken by Xin Zhao, and yes, that does provide pushing power, and it is being traded correctly by the Dragon, which you said some teams don't have pressure on, but in this situation, it is actually going to be Vi happy to trade those first 3 grubs, but remember the key breakpoints for grubs are 5 and 6. Right? Because that's when you actually get the little void mites to help you out here. So yes, you get some extra pushing power, a little bit of true damage over time to towers, but what's really going to matter actually is going to be the second spawn. I believe it's 4 minutes after the first to see.
Yes, I believe so.
Can Xin Zhao actually secure some of this for the team? Because remember, you get those void mites the whole game. Level 6 is in the mid lane. He's traded aggressively here, but yeah, so it's going to be first Dragon for first 3 grubs. So again, it's not too essential quite yet, but we got to be looking at this next timer when these next grubs spawn to see, will we see bot lane move up for it? Will we just trade 3 for 3? It's going to be interesting to see.
Indeed, and with that first Drake being secured, it was the Hex Drake. Mountain will be next on the field. And now we're back to a little bit of a calm state. I will say a little bit of calm. Oop, the hook will miss, and Rakan will go into the engage after that. I do not think too much will come off after that. Nope, but just a little bit of trading. I could be wrong.
Oh, there's
actually.
the heal. Nostalgia does still a flash available. Does have to flash the arrow, but it's continued from the ADC of LTS. Lotus picking up first blood.
That's what I'm talking about. Using the flash to get for that extra bit of gap close to land the Q that does secure the first blood. And also, I was going to comment on the Goldie just before that, and now it is now ballooned to, not really ballooned, but it is increased to 1.5K. Most of it, I assume, being in the bot lane at the moment. Actually, definitely being in the bot lane. Actually, it looks like Shiesty is running him down.
Yao getting on the Porsche now, trying to run, but let's see if they can land a couple more Ws. Oh, it is going to be Q3 coming through. Shiesty now forced to run. No flash available, but hasn't popped the ghost. Porsche happy to live through that world ender. Porsche, that was a little bit spooky there in the top lane here with neither top laner taking their first reset yet. But that bot lane trade, yes, it was a great first blood, but we did see that Forsen used both of the summoner spells for it. And look at this, Diamond now, level 6, coming down with the cease and desist. You have to be so scared now as Varus. And look at Nostalgia, just trying to clear out some of this vision. I'm expecting to see a 3v3 in the bot side.
I am too. Actually, Rakan walking in the buy.
Mixture's behind and now has to grab that Battle Lance over the wall now. Frost looking for something, but Wind will not become Lightning here. A little bit of a standoff. Both teams looking at each other, knowing what the next play was going to be, but read correctly, and gratefully no one falls yet.
Yeah, actually, I was about to say it was a great read from Rakan to walk through there to kind of try to investigate where Vi is. Actually, the Dilly
no
first
flash,
lands.
but still sidestep it. Here comes the Grand Entrance, and now Xin Zhao is in the area. They're going to take Paragon down very early. Flash behind to get Vi in the tower. One more auto does it. The third kill goes over. It's going to be Forsen now with that double. 4 for 0 for our number 7 seed coming in. Lotus gaming off to a strong start.
Indeed, and I think a kill here in the mid lane as well. Nope, actually, we'll just shuffle out of there, but that does now increase the gold lead to almost about 3,500 gold. 8 minutes into the game, 3 kills onto the Varus, and the Bork is done. So, you can definitely say Forsen's feeling real good about how things are going right now in terms of where they are in the state of the game. That does also mean 3 assists to the jungler, in which more gold. Also, wait a minute, I saw Hex Flush happening mid lane.
Mid lane. Oh, our directed cam trolled us just a little bit there. Nostalgia Lee was in the area and had no depth charge available yet. Yao Yao not afraid to keep trading topside now. Does have both R's, but Porsche takes the solo kill in the top lane. Diamond's now forced to flash away in the jungle. And look at this, Forsen knows he wins this. The completed Blade of the Ruined King, Paragon nowhere to go. This puts Forsen on a rampage.
I think that's what I'm expecting Forsen to do for pretty much the rest of the game. And there's those second Void Grubs timing that you were mentioning. And it looks like Xin Zhao with that priority in the mid lane. Your bot laner just died. Vi being on the other side of the map, it's pretty much free real estate to take them off the map. Nostalgia League going to take a pretty heavy trade here, unless...
Bait is charging up there, but Vi will not look for anything more than that. Thought maybe
I think if the ult was up, they'd go for it.
Yeah, I think so too, but without having that ultimate off cooldown again, Diamonds makes it challenging. But yep, Void Grubs, all 6 now claimed. Oh. And look at Forsen under tower. One more auto. Oh, Nostalgia Lee. Unfortunate.
That was
unfortunate.
That was some Varus damage. Oh my goodness. And that's only with Bork 5-0 here, 10.5 minutes into the game. Gold lead now almost 5,000. It's just at this point, I mean, they can just keep the ball rolling on the side of Lotus. Just keep it going, keep up with the momentum. Yeah. Don't slow down at any point.
Use the Void Mites now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And right as we are on the same page, like Void Grubs, use them to your advantage because now you get extra hardcore pushing power. Yao Yao taking a little bit of an unlucky trade.
And now look at the pressure that they have. Here comes the quickness, and now the battle entrance. We'll see if they have the damage for Nostalgia Lee once again.
Oh
They're killing this guy on repeat. Diamond's trying to make it play in the mid lane. Cease and Assist goes down. Aljun trying to trade one. Tibbers is angry and running under tower. One more auto does get a trade kill at least. But look at this, the Grand Entrance will be here once again. Paragon in trouble, does miss, but it's actually going to be Forsen taking the tower first. Flashes away, gets out safely, and here comes the curtain call. Let's see if anything can happen from Paragon now. It's going to be Mixture trying to block for their carry to not give that 700 gold bounty over. And does seem to still survive, but is a little bit worse for wear.
So, just for my own amusement, can we take over to the gold real quick?
Yeah, let's take a look.
I just want to see the dip. Oh my lord, it is almost a 3,000 gold lead in the bot lane.
It's almost a Flame Horizon in the gold department, BBZ. That is insane. Almost double the amount of gold. Like, wow.
I fully expect them to take this tower here in the next couple minutes. I thought I just saw Varus ult was just used. Okay, yep, they say the cooldown is showing. And they got a Mountain Drake on top of that, so they're not planning on slowing down. This will be, I do confidently say, will be first tower falling in the bot lane. That's 500 more gold over to Varus and first tower bonus as well.
And 2 minutes still that you have plates up. So don't you just move Varus now to the top side of the map?
Forsen is cooking with gas, but I would just send him topside. Yep, looks like that's what he's getting ready to do right now. I mean, you might as well just send him topside, get a couple of more plates while you have a minute and a half left on them. And I do think Rakan here should kind of leave Darius up to his own accolades at this point. Kind of like roam around the map, maybe open up another advantage in the mid lane. I will say another, because mid lane's at least close. But bot lane, it's not even close. I will say it is unfortunately just a giga gold lead, as the kids say, for the Varus into the Jhin. That's also kind of the disadvantage of playing Jhin into an AD carry that takes lethal tempo. You kind of unfortunately just lose trades all the time because you just don't auto fast enough. But if you're fighting in the river, as
losing trades, the quickness comes through. Varus is here as well. Diamonds has to run, still at a sliver of health. Teleport comes in, all 5 members are there. It is going to be forced to flash
Save
away, but Yao Yao, first one to fall in the fight. Aljun still around, has Tibbers available and flash if they want it. Nostalgia Lee has to run, but no flash themselves, I mean they will fall too. 11-1. It is Lotus with the dominant early game performance here in the first round of the Swiss stage.
Absolutely. Rift Herald should be coming up here in less than a minute if my math is correct. So I think that will be the next objective on the map for Lotus to secure.
Chain of Corruption just kind of blindly thrown over the wall. They must have seen the E from Vi, but does not land.
Wow. I low-key thought he actually stole the red buff, and I probably would have cried a little bit for Diamonds. That's one of the most unlucky things to happen to a jungler. Now, all holds barred, we said during draft that, all right, Lotus has a pretty good draft. The thing is that they have to land all of their stuff first, and then they'll kill someone, and then they just have a better team fight. So far, we saw exactly just that in that last team fight, and that's exactly what they did. They layered their cooldowns exactly how they needed to. They ended up layering all of the CC exactly how they needed to, ended up killing everybody exactly how they needed to. And should I say exactly how they needed to once more time? Yes, because they're taking objectives and having map control exactly how they needed to garner this 8,000 almost goldie that they have at this very moment.
It's absolutely massive, the gold difference, as you're talking about it. I mean, this was a team that was expected to come in here, and it is kind of hard to fault what we're seeing from Clown Gaming, though, because they made the correct play after they burned the double summoners bot lane, right? Forsen used both flash and heal, but then they just outplayed the 3v3. He sidestepped what he needed to, and we're seeing why this ADC for Lotus is so strong right now. They've just been outplaying, and then it felt like after that play went poorly, just been off to the races. 2 items now completed. Still that 1,000 gold bounty, but they're going to be looking for Porsche now in the bot lane. Nostalgia Lee going to use the death charge here. Did flash out, and now they're going to try to lock him down. The Ignite is ticking. It is not going to be enough from Rakan to save a Mixture. Now is going to be the one in trouble. Teleport comes through.
On the side,
they want to make a play happen. Yao Yao teleports down 5 members here in the bot side, but only picking up the 1 kill. They committed a lot for just Porsche. However, that is going to be the shutdown. Unfortunately, though, to see who picked up that kill, DBZ, it was the Nautilus. So that's going to be not the guy you want that shutdown to go on to if you are Clown Gaming.
One thing I say all the time is there are 2 things I feel bad for every single time when I'm watching these games. It's when large shutdowns go to supports and when supports have a shutdown themselves, because that shutdown's always going to go over. But the Rift Herald being used here in the mid lane did crash the tier 1 and is halfway to the tier 2. Looks like we're posturing for another fight from Clown Gaming. Okay, actually looks like they're just going to back off. I thought they'd go for it, but I think it was the right call to not go for that call. So it's just, recall. Spend your gold that you have now. You have Drake in 43 seconds. Lucky for them, it's not going to be soul point for either side. So this fight, I think, will have a pretty good implication on how the rest of the game will go. Not saying that, it's already hasn't been heavily favored in Lotus's side anyways, but I do think with what I'm seeing across the board, the only really obnoxious contention point for Lotus is the Varus. So if they can get on top of the Varus with their wombo combo that they do have, they could honestly, take Forsen out the game briefly. And I think from there they have a chance. But from here on out, it's gonna be hard, I think.
You have to get on Forsen. You have to get on him, right? Just like we saw when they killed Porsche. That's what you need to do to Varus.
That's what they need to do.
Yeah, right. That's gonna be your carry here. Still doesn't have flash available, even though the dragon is spawned. So you see that Forsen is playing more safe, right? We've seen him look for those crazy chains of corruption, but now is just gonna sit back a little bit further here. And yeah, that is your win con, unfortunately, is kill Varus. And if we don't, we can't win right now, right? This guy is so accelerated. So it's incredibly hard to play out, especially when you have to concede some of these early dragons. Gratefully, though, like we saw, Diamonds was able to get that first Hex Tech right? So at least that delays the soul. That delays the soul stacking as well. But it is going to be an ocean, and so you got to be careful because the gold leads an ocean, and you can't give them a mountain or an ocean dragon as well because it's just going to be way too deep to come back from.
And so much healing. You got to start playing heal cut, and at that point, it's just incredibly difficult. Now, I am peeking at builds right now at the moment, and it looks like Varus might be building towards. Jack Show does build at a chain vest, I think, right?
Yeah, Jack Show does. I mean, there's a chance. It seems strange. Like, yes, you're on the 2-item spike, and I think this Varus is just saying the only way that we lose right now is if I die, right? So it's a smart adaptation from Lotus to say, let me get some defensive stats, but do you think it's going to be a Jack Show?
I've seen it on Twitches, so I think it's possible. We're going to have to wait and see what the next component that Forsen ends up building is. But I have seen this exact build on Twitch before where it's Bork into Rageblade into Jack Show because of the passive that you get from Jack Show when you're in combat for 5 seconds. And if Varus is kind of looking just to be smacking people for more than 5 seconds, and that is a really strong item choice to get. But for now, just, we have a minute towards Baron. It's almost 10,000 gold lead. It is 1 tower, actually 4 towers to none. I take it back. I'm sorry. Shiesty looks like trading here on the top side.
And we just see the pressure that Lotus is able to convert on this Vision game too, right? Like, they're just rotating as 5, and yes, as Clown Gaming, you have to concede. Like, you can't take fights, but this is going to be hard losing. They're going to go in right now. Komodo, Frost is looking for that engagement. There's a change of corruption rooted up onto Nostalgia, and Paragon is going to be looking like the first to fall. Rakanna's in the back line. Nostalgia leads second to fall.
Damage.
This is going to be a wipe. Porsche under a tower does not care. Frost taking up all the tower shots. It is Forsen untouched, full health. Sums available, and it's going to be right now just a 2-for-0. The kills keep falling, and so does Clown Gaming. Now under their inner tower, trying to run once again. They're going to pick up another kill. Forsen now godlike. Flash out from Alju and Frozen Titan trying to make something happen, but only thing happening is him hitting the gravestone. They're going to keep pushing down mid lane. 2 more kills for the carry of Lotus, and Diamonds just going to fall from the other side of the map. Frost picks up 1. All 5 members in the gray screen for at least that moment. This game is looking pretty doomed.
He just finished the Jack Show, so I kind of had a hunch from what I saw, and exactly what you were saying is he wants to stay alive in these fights, and Jack Show is a very good item to do that. It just also goes to show like how far ahead they are. Look at the difference. It's 41k to 29, almost 42 to 29. So that is like 12,000, over 12,000 gold to be exact. And they could honestly just bum rush Baron right now if they wanted to. Your Varus has 3 items. They really can't walk into you. The vision is not looking good on the Baron side of the map for Clown Gaming, and it's just dark. I imagine it's just dark when they're seeing, except Porsche standing on a ward, and they definitely see that. So not as sneaky beaky as he wants to be.
Not quite as sneaky, but it doesn't really matter if they see him, right? Like, they could have as many wards on this Baron as they want. They will not be able to contest it. Clown Gaming has backs up to the wall at this point, and it really came through that bot side dominance early game, DBZ, right? This was what was the pressure point for them. The rest of the map, again, yeah, they're dying, but I'm really faulting, I think, Paragon and Nostalgia here in game number 1, because this was the lane that you were picking and trying to counter, but they're going to be going in right now. Paragon already used the cleanse. Now in the back line, it is going to be Diamond trying to get onto Aljun, but Porsche is going crazy. Aljun gets on a rampage, and the 1v1 between support and carry Paragon is looking scared, but here comes the rest of the game. Paragon falls. So does this Yao Yao in the top lane. There goes the Sun Disc Tower. The Baron has been claimed. The lives of the members of Clown Gaming have been claimed, and I expect it just to be a couple more moments until the Nexus is claimed here in this round 1 of the Swiss stage.
They don't really have a wave, but I don't think it matters because they have Void Mites, Tibbers, and a few minions, so this should mark the end of game 1 right
Frozen Titan's looking for something, does get the shuffle back, but it did not pull the Varus. They did kill Annie, but Annie is not the carry. That little girl will take their second death of the game, but the Nexus Tower is falling too. There's the second Nexus Tower. This is Forsen just smacking the Nexus, and just like that, game number 1 in dominant fashion goes to the number 7 seed of Lotus Gaming.
absolutely dominant. Dominant gaming is actually what I wanted to say, but the words just wouldn't come out of my mouth because I'm just so absolutely like amazed at just how hard Lotus just won the bot lane 2v2 when in reality it didn't look like it should have gone that way, but just unfortunate mistakes from Clown Gaming, and then Lotus just was like, all right, we can capitalize on that, and they did by winning that 3v3 because I thought that fight was doomed from the way that it started, and it ended completely different than how I thought it would. So Lotus now up in this in this game, so Clown Gaming will be falling, unfortunately. So that kind of gives you a little bit of a reset too for how kind of proceed from the Swiss stage from here. What's the best way I could say this? Let's kind of think of it this way. So at the top of the day, 0-0 Swiss stage, you're like, cool. We can come in, kind of get a feel for what's going on. Let's play what's good. When you win, you're like, all right, awesome. We're ahead. We can afford, maybe at least one mistake in a game or so, and then, it's not impactful. But if you go 0-1, unfortunately, it kind of turns some gears, and you're like, all right, what do we need to adjust so that way, we don't keep falling in the standings.
And how can you adjust your mindset too? Yes, you have to maybe make some adjustments in the game as well, but remember you will be going up against another team that is also 0-1. So there might be some time there where you can just say, hey, this team is also taken a loss already, and now let's actually put on some pressure, and we got a mental reset. We got to pretend it's 0-0 again, because that mindset is a huge adjustment piece that can really snowball in this kind of matchup. And meanwhile, it is going to be the higher seed taking that 1-0 here. We'll have to see what they can do in round number 2 of the Swiss.
Yes. Round number 2 will be very, very exciting. Either whether you're in the 0-1 squad or you're in the 1-0 squad, it's going to be very exciting. Other games should be finishing up around soon as well, so we'll kind of get more info for what happens from here. But I'm hoping that Lotus can keep up this momentum. They're looking good. They look clean. Sure, little funny things here and there, but it looked clean for the most part.
It absolutely did. And that's going to be it for us. Again, my name is Llama, alongside me DBZ for round 1 of the Swiss stage of the NACL Open Qualifier. We'll see you next time.